So this year, you'll be using Schoology a lot for our American literature class, and you'll want to make sure that you know where to go. So if you're new to the school, you always want to go to my.cherrycreekschools.org. They did change what this looks like a little bit. So if you were a student last year, this might look a little different. But you'll need to put in your login and your password. And in order to see all of your tiles, you'll have to select the dashboard option up here. I'll have other things displayed as a teacher, but you guys should still have this option. And then you'll want to select applications. And then my productivity, right? Schoology is always under my productivity. So I'm going to find mine down here and I'm going to click launch. And then you'll want to go to your courses. We have 3 American literature courses this year. So you're either in 3G, 2G, or 3G, but the setup looks the same regardless of what class you are in. So I'm going to look at our 3R class. And anytime you select our course, you'll see what we've kind of designed as our homepage. Okay. And it has Ms. Hong's contact information and Ms. Godosi's contact information. You can email them, you can call them, and these are the office locations. We also have set up a Teams link. So if you ever need to reach us virtually or something happens throughout the year, this is the link that we will use to either have a class if that happens, or if you want to just have a call with us because you were absent. Just make sure you email us first if you want to set that up. So this homepage should take you to everything that you need in our course. So if you've noticed, we've set it up by weeks. And that's because we have students on red and green days. We did it by dates. It matches up by weeks pretty well, but for the most part, it goes by these selected days. So if you were absent one of these days, you can click on August 18th to 23rd, and you'll see what we did. We will have the slideshow displayed in here. Normally, that'll walk you through what we did. But we encourage you guys to still follow along and ask questions if you have them. But these are the 2 things we'd be doing tomorrow for the first day of class. So remember, if you want to go back to the main screen, you can always come up and click this button, or you could click on materials. And then if you realize it's October and you need to make something up and we don't have all these dates here, you can always click on the Unit 1 folder and you'll see you can find the week that you were gone or the day that you were gone, and you can find the work that you need to make up. It's already all set up. That's just good to know if you need to make up work later. And we'll update these as we go, and make sure to always check our weekly reminders. That will help you know kind of what you need to remember for that week. You also might want to check the updates every once in a while. If there's something really important, we might post an update. Okay? But that's just kind of how our Schoology page works. Remember, these are all linked. They'll take you to the exact folder with the information you need. Just follow the date that we're on. And that'll happen throughout the whole year. So this will be pretty consistent. So sometimes you'll need to submit assignments on Schoology, and there'll be 2 ways that you might do that. So one might be when we've created the document for you and given you your own copy of it. And in order to submit those documents, you need to open the assignment in Schoology, and then you'll need to select, it'll say assignment, which will have the information, but you'll have to select my document in order to see the copy of the document. And especially the first time, if you've never used this before, you'll have to connect either to OneDrive or Google Drive, depending on what we're using. And you'll have to sign in with your @cherrycreekschools.org email. So I would say mgodosi@cherrycreekschools.org. And then I would put in my password in order to connect my Google Drive to Schoology or my OneDrive to Schoology. And then I'll have to click accept. And then once you're finished working on the document, you need to make sure that you click the submit button in Schoology, otherwise the item will not submit. So another way you might have to submit a document on Schoology is by attaching your own Google Doc or your own slideshow from Google Slides, or your own PowerPoint, or your own Word doc. And that looks a little different if you're using something that you created in your own drive. So it would apply the same way though. You'll want to open the assignment in Schoology and you'll click submit assignment. That means you're done with it and you're ready to attach this document or slide or whatever you created. And then you'll have to click on the resources button right here. So there's 3 tabs. You'll click on resources and then apps, which is the bottom one down here on the left. And then you'll select Google Drive or OneDrive, whichever one you're using, and select approve. You won't necessarily have to do all of this every time once you've set it up. Once it's connected, that approval won't be needed. And then you'll select the document. You'll see all your documents listed here. And that's why it's really important to make sure if you create a Google slide for a class or you create a document, you'll want to make sure that you have a name for it that you can easily find. So that way, when you come to this, you can find your document easily. You can check the box and you can click import. And that means that we'll be able to see the full document in Schoology. Remember that we're grading things in Schoology, so everything needs to be submitted there unless we've told you something different. But for the most part, expect that all assignments are submitted on Schoology. Another thing that might be useful to use in Schoology or in your Google Docs is the Chrome extension Google Read and Write. And we're expecting that on your guys' devices, you're using the Chrome browser. That's been working the best with the network. If you don't know how to set the Chrome browser as your default browser, you can ask us that in class and we can help you get that set up. But this extension, Google Read and Write, is really helpful sometimes if you like text read aloud, if you want a dictionary because you don't know what a word means. This tool can be used on any web page. It can also be used in Schoology. So maybe, I think a lot of you know what this means, but if you didn't know what reminders means, you could click on the dictionary and it'll give you the words. So if we ask you to read an article online, this might be a good option. You can also highlight different parts of the text and it will collect your notes. I'll show you a few videos that demonstrate that, some really short little excerpts in just a moment. But this is something that you might want to download and use on your computer throughout the year. It could be helpful in any class. So in order to make sure that you have Google Read and Write on your taskbar, the most important thing to check is that you are signed in into the browser with your Cherry Creek Schools account. If you're signed in with a personal Gmail account, this isn't going to pop up. The school district has only paid for students in the district and teachers to have access to this. So make sure that you are signed in. And so you can see here it says mgadosi@cherrycreekschools.org. I know I'm good, and make sure the sync is on. Okay, if it's not on, click there and go ahead and click sync. That will help make sure everything runs properly. Now, say you don't see these options up here on your taskbar, okay? And so what we want to do is click on this little puzzle piece and it should say extensions. And you might have to pin it so it shows up here. So you might have already have Google Read and Write on as an extension because the district pushed it out. However, if it's not pinned here, see how it went away on mine? I have to make sure I click the pin so it shows up. Okay? Check that all first. If you still have issues, make sure to reach out and let us know. I just want to show you a couple quick features that are part of Google Read and Write that might come in handy. So in any Google Doc, you can click this button and you can do voice notes. So if you wanted to just talk while you're reading an article and take your notes that way, it's recording what I'm saying. You can click stop and insert. To just talk while Okay. And once it does that, you'll see it pop up over here, all my different voice notes. You can always delete them, but this might be a good way to take notes in classes if you're asked to do that. Another thing that could be helpful is that you can collect highlights. So you can collect highlights on an actual web page like this too. So say I'm supposed to read an article for school and I'm supposed to mark 3 different things. Maybe I'm supposed to look for important quotes. Maybe I'm supposed to look for the main idea, and maybe I'm supposed to look for some evidence for my paper. So maybe one of the things I want to highlight in yellow. So I'm going to pick this part of the article and I'm going to mark this in yellow. And then I'm going to pick a part down here. And this is going to be in blue because that's what I figured out my evidence was. And now if you select this button and it will collect your highlights on a new Google Doc. And that could be another way to take notes if you're asked to do that digitally on your computer. And now they're all collected for you and you could reorganize or change them as you wish or label them. That's just another feature. Another thing, right? We have the picture dictionary. We have the actual dictionary. We have the translate button if you need it, or for it to be read aloud. Those are just a few features that you might find helpful in your classes. This year, there'll be a few tech tools we use. We might use others, but these are some we might use on a more regular basis. So, for example, in this first week, you're going to complete an assignment on the story of your name. And that's going to be done on Flipgrid. And it's already embedded in here. You should be able to sign in and see it as soon as it's available. But I wanted to show you what it looked like on Flipgrid. So once you're in Flipgrid, you might have to open this up outside of Schoology if it doesn't work, but typically you can use it there. You'll see the directions and you'll want to click here or click here to see more information. We'll have it available in 2 places. And then you can add a response. Okay? And it'll pop up with the recording. And it'll sometimes be a little slower because we're also recording the screen. So I wanted to show you a couple options because people always freak out about having their face on camera. So you don't necessarily have to record that way. You can have other options. You can always record your screen and show us. You could upload a clip. You can also, if you go over here and under effects, you could add your own photo. So you could upload a photo in place of this if you still want us to know who you are, but a photo that you like. You could add the pin. You can draw on it. You can add text. Right? It'll show up on here. Hello, I'm, so-and-so. You could also put a backdrop. So you could put yourself somewhere if you wanted to. You could add this. And then that's not necessarily showing. You could put the screen on and you could talk over it. These are some things we do have to record and kind of talk to us, and we're not going to do this a ton. When we do speeches later on in the quarter, you will have to show your face for that one. But for the purposes of some of our other activities, you may not have to. You can play around with the different features down here. There's a lot of things available. The last tech tool we want to remind you of is Microsoft Teams. Hopefully we won't have to use it a ton, but it is helpful if you're absent or you have to leave early for a sport. Maybe you want to be able to reach us or do a quick video call to see what you missed. So under My Cherry Creek and My Productivity, you'll find the Microsoft Teams app. You can click Launch. And it might take a few minutes to load. You can also add it on your desktop computer if you want to, but the app works just fine. So remember, you'll go here to your Teams to find our class, right? So you'll see 3R. You could also go here and under calls, you can contact myself or you can contact Miss Gadosi or Miss Hong. At any point, you just have to let us know if that's what you want to do. You can also, remember, use the link here if you want to use Teams. That will take you to us. That's if you set up a meeting with us. That's just a brief overview. If we have to incorporate it more, we will give you more information, but we just wanted you to know where to find information about Teams and where to access it.